When is the housing market going to crash? How often do I hear those questions right now? I'm going to run through that for you and try and explain what I believe will happen with the property market, specifically on the Isle of Wight, for you. Now, who am I? I'm Charlie Penine. I'm the Managing Director of Red Squirrel Property Shop, and we're also a recognised industry leader in Europe for property, not a state agency. I've headed up the world's largest independent financial consultancy on property investment, and I'm also head of development for one of the world's largest brokerage property firms in the world. So my background is solid, I'm considered an expert, but the honest answer to this question, is the property market going to crash? It's who knows. No one knows. I'm going to explain in a little bit more detail, of course, but that's the honest answer. No one can give you the definitive, it's going to crash, it's not going to crash. It's impossible. Why? Well, to be an expert, you have to do hundreds and hundreds of hours of worth of research to be classed as an expert. Now, guess what? COVID's never happened. So I can't base any analogy or any statistic against COVID. So all we can really take is what we've seen COVID do to people in this last year. What has it taught people? Now, I work all over Europe and I work in all of the cities, so I can compare the Isle of Wight to maybe, say, London, Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool as examples. My theory for the Isle of Wight, we're not going to have a price crash. I'd be surprised if we have a price crash. Why? We've got a lifestyle factor. Let's think about this. COVID has made everyone sit indoors, or should have, if you've been out. You should have been sat indoors for the last year, not seen family, not seen friends. So what are we thinking? Where do we spend most of our time? In our homes. So we've seen a huge flurry to the Isle of Wight from mainland, London, Surrey, buyers. Why? Because they're considering their lifestyle. They don't want to be stuck in a little flat anymore with no outside space. Why would you not want to live on the Isle of Wight? The Isle of Wight, in my opinion, is the best place to live in England. So suddenly, you've gone from not being allowed to work from home. March comes along, COVID hits, bang, overnight, you can work from home. So that started the drive. I mean, the market's been phenomenal on the Isle of Wight. I'm sure you're all aware. I'm sure you've all seen this. Properties are flying. It's a real seller's market. But this is why lifestyle. We're thinking about, how do I want to live my life? Well, if I can work from home, why would I not live in a lovely, sunny Isle of Wight where I'm surrounded by beaches and countryside? I'll tell you what, I can make an office at home. I only have to go to London once a week, once a month. So for me, I don't see there being a crash on the Isle of Wight. It's got to plateau out. This demand cannot continue. It has been relentless for about 15 months, so it has to plateau. And what I mean by plateau, it's not going to be a price drop, but maybe you'll stop achieving the premiums. Good examples, if a property is worth 185 to 190 at the moment, someone will probably pay 200 just so they get it. So I think what will happen when we come into 2022 is we'll start to see it plateauing out in terms of you're not having a price drop, but people maybe just won't pay that 10 grand premium. They'll probably pay you what it's worth. But when you look at the percentage increase compared to the last 5 years, it's a phenomenal increase. So you're still getting a great price for your home, but maybe just not that premium. So I don't see there being a drop. In other areas of Europe, let's compare to maybe London. We've seen a drop already in demand. Well, why? I've sort of already said it. Why live in London when you can live on the Isle of Wight and work from home and trip into your office once a week or once a month? We've seen it day in, day out. It's not just mainlanders, by the way, driving this Isle of Wight desire. Islanders are moving as well. I come back to COVID again. We've been sat in our home. Maybe we want a bigger garden. Maybe we want a smaller garden. What it's doing? Islanders are moving as well. So that's my theory. We won't see a crash. I think it will plateau out when we come into next year. Don't panic. Don't think, oh, I don't want to buy now because it's going to drop. You do not lose money in UK property as long as you invest correctly and it's a medium to long-term basis. So don't get caught up too much of, oh, what if I buy and it crashes? Well, if it's going to be home, it doesn't matter. You're going to be there for years and the properties will come back up. The longest it's ever taken a property value to double in equity in the UK is 14 years. The shortest is 2 years. So don't get too caught up in it. Buy, sell. It is the best the market has ever been on the Isle of Wight. Thanks for listening. I'm Charlie from Red Squirrel Property Shop. If you want any advice to do with investing, selling, buying, building portfolios, be sure to give the office a call and ask to talk to me, and we can arrange an appointment and see how you can look after your wealth.